Ji Shaohan has a deceased white moonlight in his heart, 5th wedding anniversary. His white moonlight suddenly appeared at the banquet. He ran over crazily and hugged her. Shensi, I miss you so much. Everyone around me is laughing at me. I don't cry or make a fuss. I just quietly watch them. In my heart, I keep repeating, Ji Shaohan, I can finally let you go. The day I got the divorce certificate, in the luxurious private room, I brought my girlfriends and ordered a room full of male models. Ji Shaohan pushed the door open. Mrs. Ji, you're really living it up. I raised an eyebrow with a mischievous grin. Mr. Ji, I'm having a great time. Don't spoil the fun. Seeing his eyes turn red with anger, I threw the divorce certificate on the table. Mr. Ji, please call me Miss Wen. 1. Everyone in our circle knows that my happy marriage with Ji Shaohan is all a joke. For the 5th anniversary, the Ji family went all out, more grand than ever before. I held on to Ji Shaohan, smiling and exchanging pleasantries with every guest, neither humble nor overbearing, but graceful and poised. Even though he didn't like me, Ji Shaohan was still willing to cooperate with me for such a large event. Just as the banquet reached its peak, a sudden turn of events occurred. Shensi appeared alive. Ji Shaohan's expression went from astonishment to shock and then to joy. He forcefully pried my hand off, almost frantically, and ran over to embrace her. Shensi, I miss you so much. My hand awkwardly hovered in midair, and as I listened to his words, a wave of sweet relief washed over my calm emotions. Everyone around me was watching the spectacle, whispering and gossiping. The Ji family members turned even more incredulous, their faces darkening. I remained composed, doing my best to uphold the dignity of the Ji family, embodying the grace and elegance expected of a wife from a wealthy household. Yet in my heart, I repeated over and over, Ji Shaohan, I can finally let you go. The party continued, but Ji Shaohan left with someone. The roar of the departing car seemed especially exhilarated in the silent night. After seeing off all the guests, Grandpa assured me that he would make Ji Shaohan come home to apologize to me. I knelt before Grandpa and kowtowed to him. Grandpa, Shaohan doesn't love me. Please let me go and also set him free. I cried like a pear blossom bathed in rain, and no one knew how happy I was. The moonlight was something I brought back. And it was also me who made her appear here, too. My grandfather and Grandpa Ji were comrades in arms. When they were young, my grandfather lost a leg saving Grandpa Ji. Out of gratitude for this, Grandpa Ji personally chose me to be the eldest grandson's wife of the Ji family. My marriage to Ji Shaohan was thus arranged by our elders. Ever since I was little, I've liked following Ji Shaohan, chasing after him and calling out, Brother Heng. But it seems he doesn't like me at all, even despises me. He loved teasing me, whether it was splashing paint on my dress or locking me in a dark room. Once, he even put a mouse in my school bag, which scared me to tears. He's happy when I'm in trouble. I didn't understand, so I mustered up the courage to ask him, Ji Shaohan, why are you treating me like this? He raised an eyebrow, disdainfully snorted, warmth, I will never like you. Give up the thought of marrying me. I found out about the engagement our grandfather arranged, and I went home to tell my mom. Mom, I don't want to marry Ji Shaohan when I grow up. He doesn't like me. The next day, I handed him the letter of refusal I had written myself. My eyes read, Ji Shaohan, I don't want to marry you. Can you not hate me? That year, I was 10. Naively, I thought that as long as I didn't marry him, he wouldn't hate me. Only later did I realize that no matter what I did, I couldn't change the fact that he hated me. But what can I do? The wind-filled school uniform of the young boy wrapped around the grandest secret of my youth. Ji Shaohan's eyes sparkled, his mouth curved into a smile, and his confident, cool demeanor made all the girls in school swoon. Proud as he was, he treated all girls coldly, except for Shensi. From childhood to adulthood, we attended the best private schools in Luocheng, where the children were either rich or noble, and few of them studied seriously, with even fewer making it into top universities. To boost the school's reputation, during our senior year, the school recruited a few top students from the best public school in the city. Shensi was one of them. We study to spend money, but she comes to make money. I noticed Ji Shaohan treats her differently. He's so gentle with her, speaking softly and smiling tenderly. Every time they rearrange seats, he insists on sitting next to Shin Si, claiming it's for her to tutor him, but really, it's to pursue her. His affection is always so blatant. Imported snacks, exquisite hairpins, fragrant flowers, and understated yet unique gifts. I've seen him sneak them into Shin Si's desk several times, and when he sees her surprised expression, he just grins at her like a fool. He never treated me like this before. Whenever he saw me, he would instinctively pull a sour face, annoyed by my presence. Back then, my whole world revolved around him, while his entire world was centered on another girl. Gradually, I started to distance myself from him. I penned my teenage heartaches in my diary, a stroke of a brush, a fleeting glimpse of youth, love that faded with the wind, yet longing still lingered. I repeatedly suppressed my feelings for Ji Yu Shaochen and poured all my energy into my studies. That year in the college entrance exam, I created a miracle for my school, entering a university along with Shin Si, while Ji Yu Shaochen entered C University. A university and C University are actually just across the street from each other. From the top floor of the teaching building, I can secretly see Ji Yu Shaochen. However, every time I see him, there is always a girl by his side. He got together with Shin Si. For I have a delicate appearance and a gentle temperament. Back in college, quite a few guys pursued me. Perhaps because my obsession with Ji Yu Shaohang was too deep, I would always compare those guys to him and then quietly decline. Indeed, one should not meet someone too extraordinary in their youth, or their standards will only rise higher. On my 20th birthday, I invited my roommates to celebrate at an upscale club, along with a few close male friends. I didn't invite Ji Yu Shaohan, but he showed up that day. I looked at him in surprise as Ji Yu Shaohan handed me the gift he had bought. Nuan, happy birthday. I hesitated and didn't take it, instinctively thinking that Ji Yu Shaohang was going to tease me again. My roommate beside me took the gift instead, giving us a knowing look that lingered between me and Ji Yu Shaohang. Oh my god, what a beautiful necklace. A gasp sounded by my ear, and my eyes widened, fixated on the exquisite necklace, unable to look away for a long time. Ji Yu Shaohan knew I wasn't lacking in such things. But I was still very happy to receive a normal gift from him for the first time. The people around us started to curiously tease. Warm, introduce us. Who is this handsome guy? Ji Yu Shaohan leaned lazily against the sofa, calmly watching me, as if waiting for my answer. I nervously picked at my hands, stuttering out a sentence. He's my brother. Brother. Ji Yu Shaohang lazily raised an eyebrow, half smiling with a hint of disdain. My mom didn't give birth to a sister for me. My heart, against my will, stirred at his words. This ripple, however, was once again quelled the next day. 5. I ran into Shin Si on campus wearing the necklace Ji Yu Shaohang gave me. When she saw my necklace, she suddenly laughed. Warmth, it suits you well to wear something I don't want. I stubbornly pulled her, wanting her to explain. She looked down her nose at me, mocking. Warm, do you know why Ji Yu Shaohan hates you? He says you're too obedient, with no opinions of your own. He also says you cling to him like a lapdog. Is your life really just about liking him? Isn't there anything else you can do? I was stunned. I had been so restrained in my feelings for someone, yet he ridiculed me as a lapdog. I found Xiao Ran, Ji Yu Shaohan's best friend. Xiao Ran told me what happened yesterday. A few days before my birthday, Ji Yu Shaohang and Shin Si had a disagreement. He wanted to buy a gift to make amends, so he chose this necklace. However, Shin Si got even angrier when she saw the necklace. She accused Ji Yu Shaohang of deliberately buying such an expensive necklace to humiliate her, implying that her family was poor. Both were proud individuals, and after the argument, they parted ways on bad terms. Someone mentioned that it was Wen Yuan's birthday today, wondering why they weren't invited. After learning that Ji Yu Shaohan and Shin Si were together, I distanced myself from their circle. Xiao Ran kept nagging to me, saying that Ji Yu Shaohan and Shin Si often argued over trivial matters. Shin Si comes from a poor background and works part-time during holidays, leaving little time to spend with Shaohan. Shaohan tried to give her money, but she refused. When he bought her gifts, she would get upset if they were slightly expensive. Actually, I think it's best to marry someone of equal standing. The gap between Shaohang and Shin Si is too big. They won't last long. When Yuan, since you like him so much, go and take him for yourself. We all support you. I had no interest in listening to him any further and took off the necklace, handing it to Xiao Ran. Tell him that the eldest daughter of the Wen family has her dignity. 06. After that day, I never saw Jiyu Shaohang again. As graduation approached, I was busy writing my thesis, and a major event happened at home. My mother fell down the stairs, and although the doctors managed to save her, she became a vegetable. I cried my eyes red in the hospital. And my aunt sent my cousin to keep me company. I sat on the bench, leaning on my cousin's shoulder, using his tie to wipe away my tears and snot. My cousin was at a loss between laughter and tears, but he kept comforting me gently over and over again. Jiyu Shaochen suddenly arrived. His tall figure blocked our path, and the worry on his face turned into a half-smile, half-indifferent expression the moment he saw me. Warmth. I didn't want to come, but Grandpa insisted I check on you. Now that you've seen me, you can leave. Seemingly caught off guard by my cold attitude, he frowned, glanced at my cousin, and then sneered at me. Warmth. Haven't seen you in 2 years. Have you developed nearsightedness? Your taste in men is terrible. I looked at him in surprise, knowing he had misunderstood my cousin, but I had no intention of explaining. I nodded lightly and retorted, fine, I'll wear glasses tomorrow and pick someone new. Jiyu Shaohang left angrily. I watched his retreating figure in confusion, completely baffled as to what had upset him. My cousin chuckled softly and said to me, Nuanuan, he's jealous. I calmly shook my head and retorted, cousin, he doesn't like me, so why would he be jealous? 7. My mother has been lying in the hospital for a month, with no signs of waking up. I've graduated from university and am preparing to take over the family business. However, things aren't going as smoothly as expected. A year ago, my father had already groomed a successor at the company. A wave of unease washed over me the moment I saw that man. His features bore an 80% resemblance to my father's. My father told me he was a distant cousin, but I didn't recall having such a relative. A paternity test confirmed my suspicions. He was Wen Qi, my father's illegitimate son, a year younger than me. I suspect my father was behind my mother's accident. I've always been docile and never dared to defy my father. That time, I called the police for my mother. I presented the paternity test to the police, my voice filled with righteous indignation as I stated my conclusion. My father had been cheating for a long time, to legitimize his illegitimate child taking over the family business. He pushed my mother down the stairs and fabricated an accident. His intention was to kill my mother so his mistress could take her place, and the illegitimate child could naturally become the heir to the family fortune. After I said all this, my father slapped me hard across the face. That slap woke me up completely. I was too weak, not capable of protecting my mother. I need to learn to endure and lie low, avoiding direct confrontation. The police saw on the surveillance footage that it was indeed my mother who fell, and as for why she fell downstairs, I think only my father knows the answer. Without direct evidence, I can't do anything to my father. My father cut off my mother's medical expenses and left it to me to figure out. Never did I expect that my first act of rebellion as an adult would almost cost my mother her life. I can't let my mother die. If she dies, the mistress will take her place. If she dies, I'll be left without a mother. I want my mother to live, but what do I have to fight against my father? I thought of Jiyu Shaochen, and even more so of the engagement arranged by my grandfather. 8. On Grandpa Gu's 70th birthday, Jiyu Shaochen appeared with Shen Si. For 4 years in college, they never parted. It seems Jiyu Shaochen really loves Shen Si. I suddenly felt a bit despicable for trying to guilt them with morality. Forget it, not marrying him might be for the best. There could be other ways. I gave up on the idea of marrying Jiyu Shaohang and set down my glass, ready to leave. By chance, I overheard a conversation between Grandpa Jiyu and Shen Si. Grandpa Jiyu said, I know about your family, a complete mess. Women like you will never set foot in the Jiyu family's door. The only granddaughter-in-law I recognize is Wen Nuan. Even if you didn't say it, I would break up with Shaohang. I have my pride. You don't need to humiliate me like this. That's best. I'll give you 5 million. And you disappear from Luo Cheng tonight. I won't take your money. Your money would only insult my feelings for Shaohang. Little girl, I know you're excellent, but in this old man's eyes, your pride isn't worth much. I didn't continue listening and crept toward the main gate. only to bump into Jiyu Shaocheng and his group of buddies laughing and chatting. I ignored them, but Xiao Ran called out to me, "Warmth." Xiao Ran approached me, noticing my bad complexion. He asked worriedly, "Are you feeling unwell?" I wearily shook my head. Jiyu Shaochen walked over, his voice crisp and lazy, the drawn-out tone dripping with a teasing arrogance. Needless to say, probably dumped by a guy. I looked up at him, biting my lower lip lightly, my eyes filled with helplessness and grievance, and tears unwillingly fell, seeing me cry. Jiyu Shaochen panicked and hurriedly wiped my tears, his tone unusually gentle. "Don't cry, I was just teasing you. Tell me who's been bullying you, and I'll find someone to beat them up." I cried even harder. Wanting to tell him that the one who's been bullying me all along is him, I felt someone push me, and before I knew it, I stumbled into Jiyu Shaohang's arms. To my surprise, instead of pushing me away, he reached out and hugged me. Shenxi happened to see this scene, and she left in a huff. Jiyu Shaohang rushed out in a panic to chase after her. 2 more months passed, and my relationship with my father was hanging by a thread, as if it could shatter at any moment. He wouldn't let me go to the company, so I had to spend every day at the hospital with my mother. To force me to admit my mistake, my father cut off my financial support. I sold my luxury items, thinking I couldn't continue like this, but I couldn't think of a suitable solution. Fu Chuoyang, my best friend, is interning at a hospital and often comes to visit us. Seeing me growing thinner and more worried, she suggested I go find Xiao Ran. Although the Xiao family is not as powerful as the Jiyu family, they can still stand up to my father. We can't let that illegitimate child get away with it. I don't have much interaction with Xiao Ran, and I'm not sure if he would help me. Just as I was considering whether to flirt with Xiao Ran, Grandpa Jiyu called me, saying Xiaoheng was willing to marry me and asking if I would like to marry him. I was quite skeptical about the truth of his words. But it wasn't until Xiaoheng accompanied me to choose a wedding dress and get our marriage certificate that I realized it was real. At the wedding banquet, I accidentally overheard a shocking piece of news. Shenxi is dead. No one told me. The Jiyu family deliberately kept it from me. On the day of Grandpa Gu's birthday banquet, Xiaoheng chased after her and saw Shenxi jump off the Luojiang bridge with his own eyes. The firefighters searched for 2 days and nights, but they still couldn't find her body. From that day on, Xiaoheng became a shell of a man. His family arranged for him to get married in the hope that he would forget Shenxi. Jiyu Shaohan was obsessed with the idea that I was partly to blame for Shenxi's suicide that day, so he told Grandpa Jiyu that he wanted to marry me. He married me to torment me. 10. On our wedding night, Jiyu Shaohan relentlessly tormented me. I begged for mercy with tears in my eyes, but he hissed into my ear, "Too late to beg now, Warmth. Spend the rest of your life with me in hell." He poured all his hatred, all his grief over Shenxi's death, onto me. He must have thought that day I was deliberately crying in front of him, deliberately throwing myself into his arms, deliberately letting Shenxi see. But Shenxi's death had nothing to do with me. After marriage, Jiyu Shaohang became a complete scoundrel. Scandals and affairs never stopped, and I, with the title of Mrs. Jiyu, became the laughingstock of Luocheng. The only thing that comforted me was that I joined the Jiyu Corporation and learned business from my father-in-law. He heard about my family's situation and gave me a lot of advice. With his tacit approval, I established a company under the name of my cousin and then used the Jiyu family's connections to take over a lot of Wen family's business. Because of my grandfather, the Jiyu family treated me well, except for Jiyu Shaoyang and his mother. On the anniversary of Shenxi's death, Jiyu Shaoyang always took me to pay my respects, making me repent to her. I may seem gentle on the surface, but I'm quite stubborn at heart. I believe her death had nothing to do with me, so why should I repent? Jiyu Shaohang seemed to have an inexplicable anger that had no outlet, so he would go to the yacht at night, bringing along a group of young girls. The Jiyu family values face, but after he got married, he always liked to do reckless things. Leaving me to clean up his mess, on the yacht, Jiyu Shaohang lounged lazily on the sofa, and the girls he picked had eyes that bore some resemblance to Shenxi's. A charming girl sat on his lap, her delicate hands softly wrapping around his neck, her cheeks slightly flushed as she nibbled on his ear. "How about coming over to my place tonight? Jiyu Shaohan's face was full of playful amusement as he lightly hooked his finger under her chin. Little beauty, if I slept with you, that would be cheating. My old man would definitely break my 3 legs. I'm married, so I can only sleep with my wife. His tone suddenly rose and his words changed when he saw Wen Yuan enter. Mrs. Jiyu, look at these beauties. Each one is incredibly talented. They're way better than you, you wooden block. A burst of laughter reached my ears, making my cheeks flush with embarrassment. I glanced through the crowd, catching his mischievous smirk, and struggled to keep my emotions in check. Grandpa told me to take you home. With a wicked arch of his brow, he deliberately tried to embarrass me in front of everyone. Holding the beauty in his arms, he gestured toward the lower deck of the yacht with his chin. Jump in, and I'll go home with you. Plop. Without hesitation, I jumped in. 11. Those who know me know I can't swim and am even a bit afraid of water. As my body slowly sank, I wondered if Jiyu Shaohan would remember me the way he missed Shen Si if I died like this. Probably not. He doesn't care about me at all. Just as I closed my eyes in despair, a hand suddenly grabbed me. Xiao Ran saved me. I was soaked through, and as I opened my eyes, I thought I caught a glimpse of panic in Jiyu Shaohan's eyes. But by the time I fully regained consciousness, it had turned into a furious tirade. Warmth. I told you to jump, so jump. Are you a pig? How can you be so stupid? Bang. I saw Xiao Ran's fist land on Jiyu Shaohan's face. I rarely saw Xiao Ran angry, that day. I saw him grab Jiyu Shaohan by the collar and shout at him in a rage. Jiyu Shaohan, it's because you're the one who made her jump. Wen Yuan is naive, so if you married her, treat her well and don't keep mistreating her. These days, there aren't many girls with genuine feelings left. Based on my understanding of Jiyu Shaohan, he should have fought back or at least cursed back, but he didn't do anything to Qin Ran. Instead, he crouched down, picked me up horizontally, and I heard his teasing voice by my ear. Mrs. Jiyu, you've won. I was overwhelmed with gratitude, nestling in his arms, too afraid to make a sound. As soon as I got home, I went straight to the bathroom to take off my soaked clothes. Jiyu Shaochen barged in without a care, startling me into instinctively covering myself. The mischievous smile on his lips deepened as he closed in, pinning me against the bathroom wall, meeting his dark, intense gaze. I knew he was in the mood again, exhausted. I bit my lip and said, Shaochen, I'm a bit tired today. Can we do it another day, Mrs. Jiyu? Jiyu Shaochen had already stripped off his clothes in an instant, letting the hot water cascade over him. His voice was husky as he said, a wife should be more proactive, you know, a single Mrs. Jiyu pulled me back to reality. I had no reason to refuse. Jiyu Shaohan always liked to bully me so openly. I willingly accepted this marriage, locking him in. But also shackling myself. The Jiyu family has already helped me so much. I can't be greedy and expect him to love me. Strangely, Jiyu Shaohan didn't torment me as he usually did. This time, he seemed like a completely different person, treating me with utmost gentleness. It made me doubt whether the person who passionately entangled with me in the bathroom was really Jiyu Shaohan. 12. In the morning, I woke up to the sound of Gu's mother scolding me sharply, and the person by the bed was already gone. I hung up the phone and saw that the drama on the yacht last night had become a hot search, making me gasp in shock. In the end, it was still captured on camera. A young girl sat on Jiyu Shaohang's lap. I was forced to jump into the sea, and 2 men were vying for my attention. The twisted facts and comments had nearly exploded online. Remembering Mrs. Gu's words, if he's being mischievous, that's fine, but why do you have to join in? I endured the discomfort and changed my clothes. I thought Shaohang Jiyu had left, but unexpectedly, he was downstairs having breakfast. Seeing me come down, he leaned lazily in his chair, his eyes full of mischievous glee. Mrs. Jiyu, you're in for some bad luck today. Just as annoying as when we were kids, he's delighted to see me in trouble. I had no appetite for breakfast, changed my shoes, and calmly looked at him. I'll wait for you in the car. As soon as the words left my mouth, I realized my throat was hoarse and there was an uncomfortable sting. Jiyu Shaochen rarely showed concern for me. He stopped smiling and his face turned serious. Are you sick? I ignored him, secretly thinking that if I was sick, it was his fault for wearing me out. Last night, from the bathroom to the bedroom, Jiyu Shaohan was absolutely wild. Suddenly, some unspeakable scenes popped into my mind, making my already warm cheeks even hotter. I shook my head, trying to rid myself of these alluring images, and sternly reminded myself, this is just Ji Shaohan's new way of tormenting people. I can't get sucked in. There's still a dead person between him and me. Ji Shaohan strolled toward me with a glass of milk, nonchalant and carefree, while I hurriedly pushed the door open and rushed out. Just as the door closed, I thought I heard the sound of a glass shattering. I frowned in confusion, wondering what had set Ji Shaohan off this time. What was he so angry about? What was he going crazy over? As soon as he entered the Ji family's ancestral home, he slouched casually on the sofa, smoking a cigarette. I was invited to the study by Mrs. Ji. A woman's intuition told me that Shaoheng's mother didn't like me. In her eyes, even a fairy descending from heaven wouldn't be good enough for her son. Without the backing of my family, she looked down on me even more deeply, without asking for reasons or distinguishing right from wrong. A clear 5-finger mark instantly appeared on my face. Following that came her furious, teeth-gritting scolding. Warmth, you have disappointed me greatly. After being married to him for so long, it's bad enough that you can't bear a child, but now you can't even control him, you can't rein him in, and you even join him in his antics. Is that acceptable? I felt dizzy and overwhelmed, listening silently without saying a word. She felt like her anger was hitting a soft, yielding surface. And not fully vented, she grabbed the inkstone from the table, intending to throw it at me. With a loud creak, the door was pushed open. Ji Shaohan walked in, with a cigarette in hand. He playfully hooked his finger under my chin, clicked his tongue, and sneered, "Mom, you're really going for the kill, huh? Trying to beat my wife to death." Mrs. Ji put down the inkstone in her hand. Ji Shaohan glanced at the table, and his sneer turned into a cold one. "You really want to kill her and leave me a widower?" His defense gave me a false sense of joy, but when I met his icy gaze, my heart sank instantly. He mocked me again. "Warmth, are you a pushover? Anyone can take advantage of you. Don't you know how to fight back or resist when someone hits you?" I'm furious. The mess he made, and I'm the one left holding the bag. Does he even have the nerve to tell me to resist? Can I hit my mother-in-law? Do I even have the right to resist? From the moment my mother fell down the stairs, I knew that without strength, I had no right to resist. I held my breath, adopted the most humble posture, and apologized to Mrs. Ji. "Mom, I'm sorry. From now on, I will discipline myself and will not let this happen again." Before I could leave, Ji Shaoyang stormed out first, furious. 13. As I stepped out of the study, I saw Grandpa Ji at the gate, holding his cane and hitting Shaoheng's leg, reprimanding him, "You scoundrel, rein yourself in. Stop causing these ridiculous, absurd troubles. Nuanuan is a good girl. If you keep this up, you'll lose your wife for sure." Shaoheng took a solid hit from the cane, and as his peripheral vision caught me, he let out a sarcastic drawl. "Old man Ji, I've already married her as you demanded. What more do you want from me? One can't be too greedy." I knew that last sentence was meant for me. One shouldn't be too greedy. He married me, lifting me out of the muddle with the Ji family. So what right do I have to demand his affection? Clearly, when I was 10, I personally delivered the letter of annulment, telling him I wouldn't marry him when I grew up. Now, it's me who broke the promise, and he should hate me for it. Moreover, Shenxi is like a thorn in our hearts, deeply embedded, impossible to remove. Ji Shaohang has gone abroad, and someone spotted him at the airport with a young starlet heading to the Maldives. Once he left, it was for several months. I savor the rare tranquility, yet my heart feels hollow. The Wen family's business is declining, and my father finally realizes something is wrong. He discovers I'm behind it and takes Wen Qi to confront my cousin at the company. Wen Qi acts like a thug, leading people to smash up my company. Someone called the police. But I arrived first, armed. The moment I saw the illegitimate child, I stepped forward and gave him several slaps. He seemed stunned by the beating, his mind frozen for a few seconds, his eyes full of astonishment as he looked at the object in my hand. Yes, it hurts too much to slap someone with my hand, so I bought a tool specifically for slapping faces. I've been waiting for this day for a long time, and after the slapping, my face was filled with a sense of cathartic joy. Seeing his son being beaten, the deadbeat dad raised his hand to slap me, But someone stopped him mid-air. As I looked at Jiyu Shaoyang in shock, he gave me a wicked eyebrow raise, then with his powerful legs, he kicked Wen Qi to the ground in one swift move. Clutching his stomach, he wailed at Jiyu Shaoyang, "Brother-in-law, I was wrong, don't call me that." Jiyu Shaoyang pushed my dad aside, pulled me into his arms, and glanced at Wen Qi with a casual tone. "My mother-in-law didn't give birth to a brother. Did you forget? You're just a shameless bastard." The last two words dragged out for an incredibly long time. My dad's face turned ashen with anger at him. After the police arrived, Jiyu Shaoyang snatched the tool I was using to slap him, studied it for a while, and then smirked with amusement. "Mrs. Jiyu, you look pretty fierce when you hit someone. Don't tell me you're thinking of finishing me off too. How could that be? We have no grudge against each other. Since you can't bear to hit your husband, why didn't you buy some little things for couples?" I knew nothing good would come out of his mouth, so I turned to leave, but the next moment, my waist tightened, and Jiyu Shaocheng hoisted me onto his shoulder. I let out a cry, and all eyes turned to us. I blushed with embarrassment and struggled restlessly. To my surprise, he shamelessly raised his hand and slapped my butt repeatedly. "Behave yourself and don't move around. Jiyu Shaohang, why did you hit me? Can't I hit you? Are you going to report me for domestic violence?" He chuckled softly, glancing at the police officer beside him and deliberately raising his voice. "Officer, is it domestic violence if I spank my wife's butt?" The crowd around them burst into laughter, and the police officer looked at him seriously. "Young man, take this seriously. Got it, I'll take my wife home now, to sleep." Another wave of suggestive laughter filled the air, and I felt both angry and embarrassed, so I had to lower my voice and plead with him. "Jiyu Shaohan, it's daytime, and so many people are watching. Please put me down first." "What? Do I need to pick a time to sleep with my wife? Ah, what a scoundrel." Before leaving, my dad gave me a deep look, and I saw surprise in his eyes, as if he hadn't expected Jiyu Shaohan to treat me like this. He carried me home just to sleep. I'm going crazy with his unpredictable behavior. At the peak of our pleasure, he nibbled on my ear and kept asking me, "Warm, haven't you missed me after all this time?" Tilda. My sultry voice pleased him, and he continued to press, "If you missed me, why didn't you reach out to me?" I looked at him with a dazed expression, as if seriously contemplating the question. Why not contact him? I used to reach out, but every message I sent went unanswered. Jiyu Shaohang never replied when I called. It was always his extremely impatient voice. The phrase I hear most often is, "Don't bother me unless it's important." Bearing the title of Mrs. Jiyu, I always had to go to those lively, glamorous places with a heavy heart, only to be met with his annoyance every time. Gradually, I became and stopped contacting him or seeking him out. His pitch-black eyes reflected in mine, and as our gazes met, our breaths intertwined, I clearly felt the beating of each other's hearts. I moved my lips, mustered all my courage, and asked the deepest question hidden in my heart. "Jiyu Shaohang, do you like me?" Hearing my question, his expression visibly froze, followed by a short laugh, full of mockery. "Warmth? What are you thinking? I've told you since we were kids, I don't like you." He was still pressing down on me, but the words he spoke were so cold, I lowered my eyes in disappointment, unwilling to give up, and asked again, "Since you don't like me, why did you help me during the day? You're Mrs. Jiyu. And bullying you is like slapping the Jiyu family in the face." Of course, I had to help, so that's how it was. The person he helped was Mrs. Jiyu, not Wen Yuan. A bitter feeling washed over me. The person he sleeps with every day is me, yet his heart belongs to someone else. Men, how do they manage to separate their physical and emotional selves so clearly? Feeling wronged, I pushed him away, got up, and went to the bathroom. I turned the water flow to its loudest and crouched in the corner, quietly sobbing. He always does this, giving a glimmer of hope only to extinguish it himself. This constant tugging on my emotions makes me delusional and insecure. Jiyu Shaohang, I want to let you go. 14. On the day I submitted my resignation to Gu's father, I ran into trouble again. Assistant Fang Hui knocked on the door, interrupting my conversation with Gu's father. She half opened the door and poked her head in. Director Wen, the company's jewelry spokesperson, was decided on long ago. Vice President Jiyu brought someone today, saying they want to replace the current one. He wants you to go to his office now. I nodded. planning to leave after handling this matter. After traveling abroad for a while, Jiyu Shaohang returned and surprisingly started working diligently. I pushed the door open, and the sight before me made me pause for a moment. In the past, Jiyu Shaohang's antics were limited to outside, but this time it was absurdly outrageous, bringing people directly to the company. He lounged lazily in his chair, with a strikingly beautiful woman straddling his lap in a suggestive manner. Her eyes were full of provocation as she saw me enter. Jiyu Shaohang wrapped his arm around her waist, bringing her lips close to his. I clenched my hands with all my strength, trying to make my steps appear calm as I walked straight toward them. Looking at Jiyu Shaohang, "Mr. Jiyu, did you call for me?" Seeing me, Jiyu Shaohang turned Su Qin's face toward me deliberately, making sure I could see clearly, then smiled in a casual tone. "Director Wen, I want to replace the spokesperson with her. Take a good look, isn't she quite beautiful? I know her, she's Su Qin, the popular actress. The woman who accompanied Jiyu Shaoyang abroad is also her. She's been by Jiyu Shaoyan's side for quite some time." I curiously examined her, and after a closer look, I found she doesn't resemble Shen Xi at all. I'm a bit puzzled by Jiyu Shaohang. It seems he's changed his taste. "Sure. As long as you like it." Seemingly caught off guard by my lackluster reaction, Jiyu Shaohang suddenly lost interest in teasing me. He pushed Su Qin away, stood up, and strolled over to me slowly. "Dad said you're planning to resign." "Why? My cousin can't handle the workload at my company alone. So I want to go help." "Warmth. Your actions make me suspect you're burning bridges." I can handle the Wen family's troubles on my own from now on." I didn't argue with him. With the advantages provided by the Jiyu family and my current strength, I can definitely stand up to my father. Bringing him down is just a matter of time. Perhaps my mindset has changed. I want to let go of Jiyu Shaohan and no longer wish to stay at Jiyu Corporation. Jiyu Shaohan was momentarily stunned. And seeing the strange expression on his face, I didn't delve deeper. I simply said, "Mr. Jiyu, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave." As I turned to leave, I heard Su Qin's sweet, coquettish voice behind me. "Shaohang, shall I have a child for you? Would you like that?" Jiyu Shaohang lazily pulled his lips, smiling nonchalantly. "Sure." This response suddenly turned into mockery when he saw that figure disappear before his eyes. "Don't be ridiculous, you're not Mrs. Jiyu. The child would be a bastard." Su Qin hooked her arms around his neck, pushing her luck a bit. "Then divorce her and make me Mrs. Jiyu, would you?" Jiyu Shaochen's smile froze, his face darkened, and his voice turned cold. "You're overacting. Don't push your luck. I'm not interested in sleeping with you." Su Qin left angrily. I knew it wouldn't be easy to divorce Jiyu Shaochen, but I didn't expect it to be this difficult. Jiyu Shaochen acted like he'd seen a ghost, every night, demanding I give him a child. After being married for a few years, we never considered having children because of Shen Xi. He said it was because his grandfather was waiting to hold his great-grandchild, and he asked me to cooperate. I was furious. A marriage without love would only result in a child becoming a victim. When he discovered I was secretly taking medication, Jiyu Shaohang had a huge fight with me. It was the worst argument we'd had in nearly 5 years of marriage. I brought up divorce to him, and his cold, harsh voice sent shivers down my spine. "Warmth. We agreed to live together in hell. Want to get rid of me? Only over my dead body. Jiyu Shaohang and I are in a cold war, and I can't be bothered to try to accommodate him anymore. Our relationship is drifting apart, and I no longer force it. It doesn't seem so painful anymore. During these years when my mother was ill, Choyang has been helping me find treatment methods and renowned doctors. Running into Shen Xi was purely by chance. Choyang met a doctor in Gangcheng who shared some acupuncture techniques and suggested we give them a try. That day, I boarded a plane and went to Gangcheng Central Hospital. At the hospital entrance, I bumped into Shen Xi. I was visibly startled to see her, but she greeted me calmly. "Warm, long time no see. So, all these years, what the hell have Jiyu Shaohan and I been paying our respects to?" 15. Shen Xi took me to meet her son, a 3-year-old boy who has leukemia. Shen Xi told me what happened back then. On the day of Grandpa's birthday banquet, she didn't take the 5 million from Grandpa, but ran into Jiyu Shaoyan's mother as she was leaving. Aunt Jiyu, from a mother's perspective, reasoned and appealed to Shen Xi's emotions. making her feel so ashamed that she chose to leave. Aunt Jiyu said, Shensi, Xiaoyang said he wants to marry you as soon as he graduates, but I don't agree. A while ago, I went to wash my face with my sisters, and I don't know how your mom found me. She was yelling at the gate that my son slept with her daughter, and since he did, he can't just sleep for free. She asked me for $1 million, and I gave it to her. No mother can stand to see her son throw himself wholeheartedly for another family's daughter. The last time I went to look for him, I saw him helping deliver takeout at the place where you do your part-time job. It broke my heart. That's my son. The one I've cherished from birth, who is meant to inherit the GU family's legacy, and is riding an electric bike through wind and rain for you. Can you understand how I feel? I've had your family situation investigated. You must be ashamed of what your mother does, right? Do you want Xiaoheng to be ridiculed and pointed at for the rest of his life? It's not that I think you're bad, it's just that your original family is too problematic. If you truly love him, let him go. Shen Xi is a proud person. From the moment she accepted Jiyu Xiaoheng, she knew there was no future for them. Yet she still accepted him, hoping for a chance. In the end, she lost, and she lost miserably. As she emerged, disheveled, and saw Jiyu Xiaohan holding Wen Yuan, comforting her, she heard her heart shatter into pieces. Jiyu Xiaohan always scoffed at the marriage arrangement made for him and Wen Yuan since childhood, but Shen Xi was insanely jealous. Every time she saw Wen Yuan following behind Jiyu Xiaohan, she would inexplicably pick fights with him. Even, occasionally, she would despicably slander her, trying to make Jiyu Xiaohan despise her. But, so what? It was Wen Yuan who ended up marrying him. Gu's mother's words bruised her self-esteem. She truly wanted to end her life to escape her wretched family. Yet, as she sank to the bottom of the water, on the brink of drowning, an image of her frail, helpless younger brother flashed through her mind. She couldn't be so selfish, let alone leave him to deal with this mess. Shen Xi swam with all her might, and in that moment, she realized that those struggling at the bottom have to fight just to survive, let alone choose love. That night, holding on to her fragile pride, she left Luo Cheng with her whole family. To avoid being found by Jiyu Xiaocheng, she cut her hair short and changed her name. From then on, she was only Shen Xingzi. I listened and laughed, and then laughed until I cried. So, what was the point of these 5 years of mutual torment with Jiyu Xiaohang? Shen Xi, for 5 years, he has been living in regret and self-reproach, making my life miserable as well. If you wanted to leave him, you could have been clear about it. But instead, you chose the most selfish way. Shen Xi had nothing to say. 16. What Jiyu Xiaohang's mother could find out with money, I could naturally find out too, in my opinion. Shen Xi's family background can only be described as very poor. They lived on a fishing boat as a family of 4, making a living by fishing. Shen Xi was always outstanding, and the year she was admitted to a key high school in the city, her father was diagnosed with lung cancer. The exorbitant medical expenses drove her mother to gamble recklessly. In the end, not only did she lose the fishing boat, but she also lost herself. After that, Shen Xi's family moved to a dilapidated alley. Her father's health deteriorated, and with no income, Shen Xi took up part-time jobs in her spare time. Her mother, keeping it a secret from the family, secretly engaged in prostitution. So, during her senior year of high school, when the private school came to recruit students, Shen Xi agreed without hesitation. She needed money, desperately needed it. But even after getting the money, her father's life couldn't be saved. It's said that on the day of her father's funeral, it was particularly lively and utterly humiliating. Her mother was stripped naked in public and beaten by a group of women. The scene was chaotic, and Shen Xi and her brother almost got caught up in it too. They started moving again. After Shen Xi got into college, she worked tirelessly to find part-time jobs to make money. She carried the burden forward. Only because she had her younger brother and mother at home, even that mother, she had long since hated to the core. Leaving Jiyu Xiaohan and Luo City behind, Shen Xi's life didn't improve much. She was being targeted, and someone set a trap for her brother, leading him to impulsively injure someone while trying to save a damsel in distress. The other party demanded 500,000 yuan, or her brother would go to jail. Of course, there was another option: marry him. So proud, Shen Xi sold herself for her brother's future. Seeing the information from the private investigator, I frowned with regret. Shen Si must have known her mother took money from Gu's mother and stubbornly returned it. Such strong pride. If only she had bowed her head earlier, perhaps she wouldn't have sacrificed her own happiness. Or maybe, the person she wanted to marry wasn't Jiyu Shaochen. It didn't really matter who she married. A year after getting married, Shen Si gave birth to a son. But fate seems to target the unfortunate. When her son was 2, he was diagnosed with leukemia. Her husband initially agreed to treatment, but when he realized it was a bottomless pit, he decisively chose to abandon his wife and child. Watching her shattered past, I found her and made a deal with her. I found the top doctor in the industry for her son and transferred her 1 million. I just wanted her to do one thing for me, convince Jiyu Shaochen to divorce me. I couldn't read the emotions in her eyes. It seemed like surprise, or maybe joy. I chuckled in exasperation and couldn't be bothered to guess what she was thinking. Back in Luo City, Su Qin found me and told me she was pregnant with Jiyu Shaohang's child, asking me to let them be together. She wept pitifully in front of me, and I calmly turned on my phone's recording, pleased to have gained an extra bargaining chip for the divorce. 17. Jiyu Shaohang didn't come home all night. Probably because he had a lot to say to Shen Si. I couldn't help but indulge in a morbid curiosity about how Jiyu Shaohang would push the woman he had been pining for over the past 5 years to the ground. I calmly packed my things, realizing that there wasn't much I wanted to take with me. 1 suitcase would suffice. This villa was a wedding gift from Grandpa Jiyu, but it felt too vast, and I always felt a sense of emptiness when I was home alone. In truth, I preferred the smaller apartment in the city. It was bought with the first pot of gold earned from my own company, a 2-bedroom apartment, with 1 room reserved for my mother. I had always hoped she would wake up, never giving up. I was pulling my suitcase downstairs when Gu's dad called. "Come home, we're waiting for you." I hung up the phone, scanned the villa once more, and let out a sigh of relief. Farewell, Jiyu Shaohan, in the Jiyu family's ancestral home. All the servants were dismissed early in the morning, leaving only the family members. Jiyu Shaohan knelt before his grandfather, his head bowed, still wearing yesterday's clothes, though his suit showed noticeable wrinkles. Seeing me enter, my grandfather's stern face softened, and he beckoned me with affection, as if to fulfill the promise he made to me last night. "Warm, come here to Grandpa. Shaohang is kneeling to apologize to you." I walked over and knelt down beside Jiyu Shaohang. Bowing to all the elders of the Jiyu family, this is my gratitude as a younger member of the Jiyu family, and also a farewell. Without the Jiyu family, there would be no today's warmth, nor the strength to stand up against my father. Jiyu Shaohan turned to look at me, his face no longer lazy and teasing, but instead a tension I had never seen before. He pursed his thin lips and asked me, "Warmth, what are you doing?" I took out the pre-prepared divorce agreement from my bag and handed it to him. Removing the ring in front of everyone and placing it on top, I smiled with ease and relief. "Brother Aheng, let's get a divorce." I haven't called him that in such a long time. When I was little, I really loved calling him Brother Aheng and following him around, but he would always glare at me fiercely. "Wen Yuan, who do you think you're calling brother? I warn you, stop following me." I was laughing, but suddenly, tears fell. The person I once liked so much in my youth, I'm finally letting you go. Everyone fell silent, the silence so profound you could hear a pin drop. "Warmth, how dare you?" Jiyu Shaochen's voice was filled with a teeth-gritting intensity. "I told you, if you want a divorce, it will only be over my dead body." I knew it. I calmly took out my phone and played Su Qin's words for them to hear, word for word. "Miss Wen, I apologize for the intrusion, but I'm pregnant with Mr. Gu's child. You've been married for so many years without a child. This is the first great-grandchild of the Jiyu family. You would keep him, wouldn't you?" When Su Qin saw me, she wouldn't even address me as Mrs. Jiyu. Though her demeanor was humble, I could see the satisfaction in her eyes. There was a long silence on the phone. Seeing that I didn't respond, Su Qin was too impatient, and her voice suddenly became sharp as she raised her tone. "Warm, Jiyu Shaohang doesn't love you. Let him go, okay? Don't cling to him like a leech. It's been 5 years. You've held on to the title of Mrs. Jiyu for too long. It's time to divorce. Can you stop being so shameless?" Crack. Jiyu Shaohan smashed my phone. I'm not sure if it was because he was feeling guilty and couldn't stand it, or because I publicly exposed his shame, but in any case, he was very angry. Grandpa Gu swung his cane hard onto his shoulder, angrily scolding, "You good for nothing, are you trying to kill me?" I heard Gu Shaohang grunt, and when he turned to look at me, the sarcastic cold smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Warmth, you're such an idiot, you believe whatever anyone tells you, I never even touched her. What about Shen Si?" When I mentioned Shen Si, Gu Shaohang's expression visibly stiffened. "I find it somewhat amusing, and I sigh deeply. Gu Shaohan, these past 5 years, I haven't been happy at all. I don't owe you, do I? Even if Shen Si really died, it has nothing to do with me. Moreover, she's still alive. If you can't let her go, go find her. I'm tired. Whether he chooses Shen Si or Su Qin in the end, it no longer concerns me." I stood up, but my wrist was gripped by a powerful force. I lowered my head and saw Gu Shaohang with red eyes, his expression cry, "Warmth, do you really not want me anymore?" I pried his hand off with all my strength, just as he had done to mine yesterday, speaking with firm determination. "Yes, this time I really don't want you anymore." 18. On the day we got the divorce certificate, it was drizzling. I waited for a long time at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau before Gu Shaohang finally arrived. When we got to the entrance, he didn't go in. I walked over with an umbrella and saw him leaning against the car, silently smoking. I tapped on the car window and urged him, "Hurry up, they're about to close." Gu Shaohan extinguished his cigarette, pushed the car door open, and his tall figure suddenly slipped under my umbrella. I was momentarily stunned. Before I could gather my thoughts, he snatched the handle with one hand, wrapped the other around my waist, and laughed freely. "Wife," he called out to me, and seeing my slightly furrowed brow, he lazily smirked. "I didn't call you wrong. You're still my wife until a minute after we're divorced." I can't be bothered to banter with him, so I urge him again, "Hurry inside, we really need to wrap up." A soft sigh reached my ears, but Gu Shaohan said nothing. Instead, he tilted the umbrella toward me, wrapped his arm around my shoulder, and walked inside. In the past, his thoughtful gestures and heartfelt words always stirred my emotions. Now, my heart remains calm, as the steel seal was stamped. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Gu Shaohan held my hand, his rough thumb constantly rubbing my hand back. I tried to pull away, but he held me even tighter. Nuan, marrying me. Do you regret it now?" I shook my head, speaking sincerely. "How could I? The day I married you, I was truly happy, but what you did to me later left my heart completely cold. I'm sorry for making you marry someone you didn't love. I wish you and the person you love a happy life together." Gu Shaochen seemed taken aback by my words, his eyelashes fluttered, and his eyes suddenly reddened. He opened his mouth to say something, but his phone rang at the wrong moment, and I heard Shen Si's voice. I gently patted his hand, signaling him to let go. Without any extra words, I waved goodbye to him directly. However, I didn't expect to run into Gu Shaochen again during a gathering with my girlfriends in the evening. Grandpa Gu, to make it up to me, not only gave me shares in the Gu Corporation after the divorce but also an extra 500 million. I became a complete single and wealthy woman, and with a wave of my hand, I ordered a bunch of male models from the club. Different styles of handsome guys stood in front of us, and Fu Qiuyang shamelessly drooled, while everyone else laughed at her. My heart is dead, but my eyes are not blind, and my hands are not dead. I walked over and lifted a guy's shirt, and everyone started hollering, "Take it off, 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 off." Just as we were going wild, the door suddenly burst open, and Gu Shaochen walked in. He seemed to have never seen this side of me before, seeing my hand on that guy's abs. His face immediately darkened, and he blurted out, "Mrs. Gu, you're really going all out." I mimicked his old ways, raising an eyebrow with a mischievous glint, and for the first time ever, I directly challenged him, "Mr. Gu, we're having fun here. Don't spoil the mood." Seeing his eyes turn red with anger, I slammed the divorce certificate on the table. "Mr. Gu, please call me Miss Wen." Gu Shaohang went mad. He smashed the private room with his bare hands and kicked everyone out. Before leaving, my girlfriends were still cursing at him. "Gu Shaohang, you're just digging your own grave. After 5 years of marriage, you never showed much love for Nuanuan. Now that you're divorced, what are you pretending to be so deep for?" In the end, he knelt in front of me, hugging my leg and crying his heart out. My girlfriends fell silent and left awkwardly. He said, Nuan, I regret it. Let's start over. Okay, to be honest, after 27 years of living. This was the first time I saw Jiyu Xiaoyang so humble. I crouched in front of him, tenderly caressing his eyebrows and eyes, wanting to give him the illusion that I still loved him, just like the illusions he had given me before. I smiled gently and calmly told him, no, I don't want to be Mrs. Jiyu anymore. 19. A few months later, my mom miraculously woke up. I cried tears of joy, hugging her for a long time. My mom's memory was still stuck on the day she fell down the stairs. She reported it to the police and hired a lawyer. My mother knew about my father's extramarital family when I was very young. To ensure my healthy upbringing, she chose to endure and remain silent. Finally, when she found out that my father was planning to hand the company over to his illegitimate son, she completely snapped. My father didn't push her, but he ordered someone to spill something on the stairs and deliberately chose that spot to provoke my mother. Ever since I beat Wen Qi at the company that time, I haven't seen my scumbag dad in a long time. He had gone quite grey, and when he saw my mother wake up, he feigned concern and asked for her forgiveness. My mother was utterly disappointed, coldly watching as my father was taken away by the police. The Wen family's company had become a shell, so I bought it out and kicked Wen Qi and his mother out of my house. Both the company and the home were half my mother's life's work. So I certainly wasn't going to let outsiders benefit from it. After Mom woke up, Jiyu Xiaochen came to see her. It had been months since I last saw him. He had become much thinner, his handsome face still carrying his usual nonchalance, but his eyes now held a touch of maturity and restraint. Seeing me approach, he quickly tossed the cigarette in his hand to the ground and crushed it with his foot. Why are you here? Come and see my mother-in-law. Over the years, I've never called her Mom. Today, I came specially to call her that. I looked at him in silence as he handed me a notebook, sincerely apologizing to me. Warm, I'm sorry, I accidentally read your diary. On the day of our wedding, I married him with the joy of youth. However, the latter part was filled with sorrow. I didn't take it. That warmth belongs to the past, not the present or the future. Throw it away. Jiyu Xiaohang complained to me apparently not expecting me to say that. Warmth, you wrote about being a in your diary. When did I ever say you were a? Besides, after 5 years of marriage, I haven't touched any of those women outside, the heir to the Jiyu family. I only want it to come from your womb. What about Shen Si? I actually asked this question out of curiosity. I was really curious. Jiyu Xiaohang thought I was jealous. The smile at the corner of his mouth was a bit strange. He looked at me for a long time before speaking. No, believe it or not, I didn't touch you before marriage, and even less after, so. I'm not the cheating scumbag you wrote about in your diary. Isn't emotional cheating still cheating? Jiyu Xiaohan was momentarily speechless by my question. I walked away confidently as he pondered. On my 30th birthday, Xiao Ran proposed to me. And I said yes. He knelt on one knee, pouring out the most sincere words of love to me, tears streaming down his face. He said, Warmth, the thing I regret most in my life is pushing you into Jiyu Xiaoyan's arms on the day of Grandpa Gu's birthday banquet. It turns out that Xiao Ran knew everything. He knew that my heart and soul belonged to that person, and he chose to let me go. I just don't know. There was once a boy who had me in his heart and eyes. I always realize things too late. The end. Side story, Jiyu Xiaohang's chapter 20. On Wanwan's 30th birthday, I meticulously prepared a car full of gifts, wanting to make up for her younger self. The birthday party was held at a resort hotel. Warmth still didn't invite me, but when I rushed over, I saw Xiao Ran proposing to her. She said yes and hugged him. The ring in my pocket suddenly tightened, and the pain in my palm jolted me awake. My Warmth, I've completely lost her. I leaned against the wall, lit a cigarette, and as the smoke swirled, my thoughts gradually drifted away. I wonder when I started to love Warmth. Ever since kindergarten, there was a little girl with pigtails who liked to follow me around, calling me sweetly, Gija Heng. She was so adorable, and her smile was truly beautiful whenever she saw me. Back then, I genuinely liked her, and I would always hold her chubby cheeks and ask for a kiss whenever I had the chance. Until one day, my grandfather came to pick me up from kindergarten. When he saw Nuan, he smiled and said to me, My dear grandson, You need to protect Nuan at school and make sure no one bullies her, because she's going to be your wife someday. My life has been meticulously planned out by the GU family since birth, even down to who my wife would be. I'm so fed up. This rebellious feeling only grows stronger and more profound as I get older. When Nuan sensed my dislike for her, asked why, and at the age of 10, I delivered harsh words to her, making it clear she should give up any thoughts of marrying me. Sure enough, she personally wrote a letter of annulment the next day and gave it to me. Letter of annulment, warm promises not to marry Jiu Shaohang when she grows up. The handwriting is terrible. I crumpled what she wrote into a ball, my anger, and I even stomped on it viciously. She doggedly followed me, and I couldn't get rid of her. My fondness for Shen Ci carries an inexplicable sentiment. She was different from the other girls at school. While they all loved to look pretty, she always wore her hair in a ponytail and her school uniform, and those well-worn, faded canvas shoes. Shen Ci always won the scholarship. To be honest, she wasn't as pretty as Wanwan, but she didn't have the spoiled air of a rich girl. Her tightly furrowed brows hinted at a stubborn resilience. I pursued her for a long time before she finally told me, Jiu Shaohan, school rules forbid puppy love. I'll consider it after we get into university. The day I received my university acceptance letter, I couldn't wait to ask her to be my girlfriend. Thinking about this, I couldn't help but frown. I was trying to recall what Wanwan was doing at that time. Yes, she and Shen Ci got into the same university. Wow, this girl was secretly working hard behind his back. It really took him by surprise. When I went to a university to find Shen Ci, I accidentally ran into her. I wanted to say hello, but she pretended not to recognize me and walked away with her friend, as if she were nearsighted. I felt a bit annoyed. This girl, after getting into a good university, is really getting a big head. What happened to if we get rich? Don't forget each other. Shen Ci is very busy. Besides studying, she spends her free time doing part-time jobs. We're nothing like those lovey-dovey couples on campus. My family isn't short of money, and to get her to spend more time with me, I tried transferring money to her, but she wouldn't take it. I bought her gifts, but she refused those too. We've argued countless times over these small things, but every time, I was the one who had to go to her and ask for forgiveness. Shen Ci works part-time at a milk tea shop on weekends. To be with her, I bought an electric bike to help her deliver takeout. It was raining that day, and I fell. My mom was standing not far away, quietly watching me. Although someone was holding an umbrella for her, I still saw water all over her face. My mom was crying. She walked over slowly, speaking to me very gently. Son, come home with mom. I can't bear to see you suffer. Honestly, seeing my mom cry made me feel pretty bad, but I still grinned at her and said, Miss Hu, this isn't suffering, I'm just experiencing life. I limped back to the shop pushing my electric bike and saw Shen Ci arguing with a woman from a distance. I had never seen Shen Ci like that before. She stood in the rain, drenched, throwing all the money from her pocket at the woman's face while hurling obscenities at her. The woman crouched on the ground, picking up the money one bill at a time. I forced myself to walk over despite the pain, and when Shen Ci saw me, there was a clear look of shock and panic in her eyes. Out of respect for her, I never investigated her family background. I only heard that her family was struggling financially. I stepped forward and hugged her. In truth, I really wanted to hold an umbrella for her in the rain, but she pushed me away forcefully, and I fell awkwardly to the ground, as if I had discovered a secret hidden deep within her. She fled, not even glancing at me. I let the rain fall on my face, laughing, and then I cried. I don't know what exactly I'm holding on to. After 2 years of dating Shen Ci, she never accepted my kindness. Her strong pride always made her see my goodwill as a tool to humiliate her. After that incident, I rested at home for several days, but Shen Ci never came to see me. Lying in bed, I suddenly thought of warmth. I wonder what Wanwan is up to. It's been a long time since I last saw her. Just then, Grandpa called to say it's Wanwan's 20th birthday today and asked me to buy a gift for her. Actually, that necklace was meant for Wanwan. Shen Ci would never accept such an expensive gift, but she happened to see it. She instinctively assumed I bought it to humiliate her. I explained that it was my grandfather who asked me to buy it for warmth, as it's her birthday today. Shen Ci was crying and throwing a tantrum, mocking me sarcastically. saying that someone like me, a rich young master, would end up marrying a lady like Warmth. I found her unreasonable, and with a group of friends watching, it made me feel quite embarrassed. They didn't know what we were arguing about. But they were already used to seeing such scenes. Someone opened their phone, saw Wanwan's post on Moments, and loudly told me that it's Wanwan's birthday today. As if I didn't know already, they kept whispering all sorts of nice things about Wanwan in my ear. Now I realize that person was Xiao Ran. Well, looks like they're trying to set him up with Wanwan. I left her behind for the first time, in search of Warmth. She seemed surprised to see me, and as I gave her the gift, I watched her slow reaction, and my mood suddenly improved. My friends started teasing, asking who I was. I looked at her with anticipation, only to feel a strange sense of disappointment when she called me her brother. I looked her up and down, momentarily stunned. His little follower had grown up, looking better and better, with many ill-intentioned boys circling around her. I couldn't help but wonder, who will ultimately win the heart of Warmth, this beautiful flower? What does this have to do with me? Warmth has her own life, and I have my own path to follow. Shensi and I have gone through various stages of breaking up and getting back together. I wanted to rent a place near the school, just like others, and live with her. I wanted to get closer to her, but Shensi refused. Every time she turned me down, she would give me a lot of lofty reasons. I knew she was someone who lacked a lot of security. To give her a sense of home, I promised her that we would get married after graduation. As graduation approached, I learned from my grandfather that something had happened to Warmth's mother. I rushed over in a panic and was shocked to see her crying on another man's shoulder. She's 22, isn't it normal for her to have a boyfriend? Why am I even upset? I walked out, kicked the flower bed hard, and cursed myself for being such a jerk, promising a home to Shensi while secretly not wanting Wen Yuan to marry someone else. On the day of Grandpa's birthday banquet, Shensi died. I know it had nothing to do with Wen Yuan. It was all my fault. I drifted through 2 months in a daze, only to overhear a conversation between my grandfather and father about wanting to help Wanwan. They said that if I could marry her, I could help her openly. Only then did I realize that the stubborn girl had started selling bags and still wouldn't come to him. Does she, like Shensi, think he can't be relied on? I married her, and I ruined her. On my wedding day, Shensi's best friend came to me and said a lot of vicious things. She said, "Jiyu Shaohan, you were always going to marry Wen Yuan from the start, so why did you have to mess with Shensi? She had such a hard life, and you still didn't give her a way out. Now she's dead, are you satisfied?" She also said, "Wen Yuan has always had feelings for you. Why did you still hold her when she ran towards you? You, this two-faced scumbag, how dare you even think about happiness? You should both rot in hell, never to be reborn." On our wedding night, my first experience, I was punishing her and destroying myself. Warmth, it must have hurt so much. Right, after that, I truly wanted to be a complete scumbag. May I die a horrible death. I took Warmth to pay respects to Shensi. Even though she was dead, that girl still wouldn't say a single sincere word to her. I'm absolutely furious with her. But when I saw her jump into the sea without hesitation, I suddenly panicked and instinctively pushed the woman off me. Xiao Ran hit me, and I think he should have hit me more. When I got home, I treated Warmth with my first genuine and gentle care, as if only then could my heart feel at ease. Even in hell, with her by my side, I don't seem to fear anything. Warmth couldn't resist my teasing. Even after so many intimate moments, she would still blush and feel shy whenever she saw me. That night, I dreamed of sinking into the sea and meeting Shensi. She cried and asked me, "Xiaoheng, have you forgotten me? Have you fallen in love with Warmth? You wanted to save her when she fell into the sea, but why didn't you save me when I fell?" I suddenly woke up, looking at Warmth beside me who was utterly exhausted. And I really wanted to reach out and touch her eyebrows. Shensi said, "I've fallen for Warmth. It seems, I really have fallen for her." However, just as my hand was about to reach out, I closed my eyes sadly. How could I forget? There's a dead person between us. To escape Warmth, I chose to travel abroad to clear my mind. Su Qin was a chance encounter at the airport. I just happened to help her avoid the paparazzi, but I didn't expect her to latch onto me. Every day, I sit on the beach, gazing at the endless sea. The faces of Shensi and Wen Yuan keep flashing before my eyes. I lie on the sand with my hands crossed, watching the clouds in the sky. Look, when Nuan is smiling at me, oh, so the figure that pops into my mind more often is her. As soon as I returned to my home country, I went straight to find warmth. Seeing her hitting someone with something, I found such warmth utterly adorable. I really want to sleep with her, however. When emotions ran high and she asked if I liked her, I crazily denied it. I heard her crying in the bathroom and slapped myself hard. Jiyu Xiaohan, is it really that hard to admit you like her? What a silly girl. If I didn't like you, why would I be thinking about sleeping with you every day and lusting after your body? What do you think I am? Dad told me that when Nuan was going to resign, and I suddenly started to panic. I feel like she's about to leave me. I staged a scene with Su Qin in the office to see how Wanwan would react, to test if she still cares about me. How infuriating. She didn't get angry at all. When she heard someone wanted to have a baby with me, she didn't even pause. No, I need to have a baby with her, so she can't leave and will be stuck with me forever. I was furious when I saw her secretly taking pills. Has she already fallen out of love with me and is determined to leave, leaving me all alone to suffer in hell? Shen Xi showed up at the wedding banquet. Thank goodness, she's not dead, she's been alive all along. I was so excited I couldn't speak. I took her for a drive and finally stopped the car at the Luojiang Bridge. She recounted that day's events to me in the car. It turned out that my family had been keeping it from me, secretly pressuring her, and their fondness for Shen Xi was all an act. I rolled down the car window, letting the cold wind blow through my hair. Thinking that the Jiyu family's love for warmth was genuine, Grandpa treated her like a treasure, Dad taught her business, and even my mother, who always looked down on her, would instruct the servants to prepare several of the young mistress's favorite dishes at every family banquet. I heard my mom tell the maid, Nuan is such a filial child, she's taken care of her mother for so long, and it's really heartwarming. The maid said, the madam is right, the young mistress treats us very well. And we all like her. How did she manage to make so many people in the Jiyu family like her? And eventually, even me, instead of blaming Shen Xi, I felt an inexplicable sense of relief. I felt a pang of guilt. I shouldn't have left warmth alone on a day like this. I silently smoked, and suddenly, Shen Xi unbuckled her seatbelt, hugged me, and her lips wandered across my face. The ash fell on my fingers, burning me and snapping me back to reality. I looked at her in shock. Shen Xi, on the verge of tears, cupped my face. Xiaohang, it's been 5 years, I've missed you so much, can we start over? I pushed her away, feeling irritated, and reminded her, I'm married. Warmth said she would divorce you and let us be together. Did she say that to you herself? Seeing Shen Xi nod, I panicked and threw away my cigarette. Shen Xi grabbed my suit, pulling me back to stop me from leaving. In the struggle, my suit was crumpled by her hand. Warmth wants a divorce from me. Has she really decided? Yes, she really has, and she's fully prepared. She mentioned Shen Xi and even produced Su Qin's recording. I held on to her, not wanting her to leave. I want to tell her, I like her, I really like her. In the end, we really got divorced. On the day we divorced, I wanted to have a meal with Warmth, but Shen Xi called to say she was leaving. I saw Warmth waving at me, and my heart broke. Before leaving, Shen Xi said to me, Xiaohang, you're always different with when Nuan, you speak to her in a deliberately harsh tone, but when you see her upset, you can't help but feel heartbroken. The person you've always liked is her, isn't it? I let go because I wanted to say goodbye to the past Jiyu Xiaohang. I want to win back when Nuan and pursue her again. When she drives, I follow at a distance. When she walks, I follow closely behind. However, the girl who used to always follow behind me has never looked back at me again. She took nothing from the villa, and with her departure, it felt like I had lost everything. The servant cleaning found her diary in the corner of the desk. That notebook was filled with my name, and also with her grievances. As a cigarette burned out, I exhaled a deep puff of smoke, gently placed the car keys by the door, and walked alone back along the path I had come, into the lonely darkness. Goodbye. The girl I lost. May your remaining years be gentle and filled with warm breezes. The end. Story 2. I had been with Hua Changyang for 10 years. His brothers privately laughed at him for insisting on keeping a mute girl by his side. Hua Changyang said indifferently, she can't talk, so she can put up with more than others. Even when he brought someone home, I remained indifferent. Finally, he lost his composure and went crazy. What he didn't know was that I was bound to a mute girl system. As long as I didn't speak in his presence for 10 years, I could get one wish and 100 million yuan bonus. And this wish of mine had never had anything to do with him. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. The moment I turned the key to open the door lock, I felt something was wrong. The haphazardly placed strange high-heel shoes at the entrance and the messy living room all indicated the same thing. I calmly squatted down to tidy up the shoes. When I looked up again, a charming woman was standing at the door of the bedroom that Hu Changyang and I shared. She hooked the hair by her temples with her fingers and looked at me playfully. "Housekeeper." I didn't answer and went straight to the study to get my things. The woman didn't want to let me go so easily. She followed me barefoot, constantly provoking me with words related to Hu Changyang, but I didn't care at all. Because the binding period of my system was coming to an end, in 3 days, I could leave Hu Changyang's side. So during this period, I had been cleaning up my things and preparing to take them away. I had very few important things left at Hu Changyang's house. I took a little bit every day, so he wouldn't notice. I squatted in front of a small cabinet at the innermost part of the study, rummaging for my bracelet. But no matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find it. Suddenly, the woman behind me shook her wrist, and a clear sound rang out. "Are you looking for this?" My heart sank suddenly. I turned around and saw that the bracelet was exactly on her wrist. Hu Xiao gave it to me yesterday. I thought the quality of the jade was not good enough, but now I suddenly think it's quite nice. Indeed, things are more appealing when there are people vying for them. Don't you think so? Give me back the bracelet. You can take Hu Changyang. I typed a line on my phone and held it in front of her. After reading it, she casually took off the bracelet and said with a hint of pity, "Okay, consider this as the breakup fee from Hu Xiao to you." I spread my palm to take the bracelet. The next second, with a smile on her lips, she threw my bracelet high into the air. Without thinking, almost instinctively, I used my body to cushion it. The cabinets in the study were all made of solid wood. My back hit the sharp corner of the table hard. The extreme pain made me forget to breathe for a moment. I lay there, hunched over, unable to move, tightly clutching the bracelet that I had protected at the last moment before it hit the ground. The loud noise woke up Hu Changyang, who was still sleeping. He had a terrible case of getting up anger. His voice reached us before he did. "What's all the noise?" His steps stopped at the door. Seeing me lying on the ground with a pale face, he mockingly laughed. "Aren't you always the most generous? I just brought Liu back to stay for one night, and you're so jealous that you fought with her." The woman called Liu, as if seeking credit, put her arm around his. "No, it's not like that. I accidentally almost dropped the bracelet just now." This young lady rushed over to stop it from breaking. "Bracelet?" Hu Changyang raised an eyebrow, walked over and squatted down beside me, trying to take my bracelet, but he couldn't pry my hand open no matter how hard he tried. Fine beads of sweat appeared on my forehead. I gritted my teeth and desperately shook my head at him. His features were cold and stern, and when he got angry, he looked particularly sinister. "I told you to let go." Hu Changyang could take anything from me, but this bracelet was an exception. We were at a stalemate. His peripheral vision caught sight of my phone on the ground, and his eyes were drawn to the still, lit screen. Hu Changyang let go of my hand and instead picked up the phone. Carefully reading the few words on it, "Explain what this means. Give me back the bracelet. You can take Hu Changyang." Seeing this, Liu promptly came up to show her loyalty to Hu Changyang. "She doesn't really love you. Unlike me, you're the only one in my heart." Liu's words completely stepped on Hu Changyang's landmine. She didn't even realize what she had done wrong to anger him. Hu Changyang furiously drove Liu out and threw a huge tantrum at home. I had been with him for 10 years and was already used to this madman's unpredictable temper. Taking advantage of his outburst, I packed my things and prepared to leave. After driving the person away, Hu Changyang calmed down a bit. He sat on the sofa in the living room and lit a cigarette. "I thought you'd at least show some jealousy when I brought someone back. Turns out it was all for that broken bracelet. Even though my brother has been dead for 10 years, I still can't compare to a bracelet of his, right?" I paused at the entrance, shook my head slightly, and then strode away. It wasn't that he couldn't compare, but rather that in my heart, There was never any comparison between them. 10 years ago, I suddenly lost my voice and could no longer speak. I silently followed Hua Changyang, being available to him at any time and in any situation. I watched him constantly go in and out of various entertainment places, with the people around him changing one after another. He wanted to use these things to provoke me, but I remained silent. Just like my voice, one day, he was drinking with some second-generation rich guys. They teased Hua Changyang about his strange taste, keeping a mute girl by his side. Hua Changyang looked at me in the corner, who had an extremely low presence, and sneered, "It's precisely because she can't talk that she can put up with more than others. Besides her, who else can tolerate me like this?" After hearing this, those people burst into knowing laughter. I lowered my head even more, silently counting down the days of the system binding. I had never liked Hua Changyang. If it weren't for that wish, I would feel disgusted to stay by his side for even one more day, and that wish had never been related to him. I took the bracelet, bought a bouquet of flowers, and drove to the martyrs' cemetery. Hua Jinyan's tombstone was very clean, almost spotless, but I still habitually took out a handkerchief from my bag and carefully wiped the red 5-pointed star on the tombstone. He was Hua Changyan's half-brother, unlike Hua Changyang, who was an out-and-out scoundrel. Hua Jinyang was the kindest person I had ever met in my life, but for some reason, it seemed that good people always didn't live long. The day Hua Jinyang died, I waited at the Victoria Harbour all night. We had made an appointment to watch the New Year's Eve fireworks together, but he received information from an informant and had to break the appointment, until the fireworks on the opposite bank exploded, lighting up the whole sky. The crowd was bustling, and then, like the fireworks, they faded away with time, leaving it desolate. I stood there alone until dawn. He still didn't come. Ben, who always delivered messages for him to me, called me. He said that Hua Jinyang asked me if the fireworks were beautiful and if I was going to cry and ruin my makeup again. Hua Jinyang was extremely smart. He could even predict what would happen after his death, only he didn't anticipate my obsession. Heaven wants to separate lovers and cut short the lives of good people. Then I will go against it. Uncle Lee, who was in charge of the cemetery, happened to see me and greeted me. "Miss W.N. I've been seeing you here quite often recently." I nodded and smiled in response. Yes, in a few more days, I could bring him home, because my wish was to revive Hua Jinyang. After leaving the cemetery, I didn't go back to Hua Changyan's house. Instead, I went to the small flat that Hua Jinyang and I had bought together before his death. We had almost spent all our savings to buy this place. When Hua Jinyang died, it was just a rough, cast house. Over the years, I had been living frugally and used my salary to decorate the house bit by bit. Every carpet, every table and chair, and every warm lamp was purchased according to our preferences. As long as he came back, this place would become a real home. In the quiet night, the rapid knocking on the door was particularly harsh. I got up and saw Hua Changyang holding a wine bottle through the peephole. His face was flushed, his steps were unsteady, and he was shouting for me to open the door. I frowned and immediately turned off the lights in the room, pretending that no one was at home. Seeing that knocking was useless, Hua Changyang sneered, put down the wine bottle, and kicked the door hard. I leaned against the door, and the shock still made me couldn't help but feel startled. "I've been standing downstairs for half an hour. I saw your light was on a long time ago. I know you're in there. Open the door quickly. If you don't open the door, we're breaking up." "I'll only count to 3. This was a trick Hua Changyang often used. Every time we had a disagreement or conflict, he would threaten me with breaking up. I couldn't leave him, so I always gave in. This trick worked like a charm for him. 1, 2, Hua Changyan's countdown was like a blunt knife cutting at my heart. There were only 3 days left. I couldn't break up with him, or all my efforts would be in vain. I took a deep breath, quickly opened the door and went out. Then immediately closed the door behind me. Since I didn't want Hua Changyang to come in, I could only go out. The lights in the corridor were always flickering. Most of Hua Changyan's face was hidden in the darkness. His eyes, which were fixed on me, were shining, and his tone sounded much more cheerful. "I knew you wouldn't leave me." He was tall and big, and with one hand, he could easily block me in the corner behind the door. The strong smell of alcohol made me a bit uncomfortable. I turned my head away to avoid his show of affection. Hua Changyan's movement paused, as if thinking of something. He laughed softly. Could it be that in front of my brother's house, you want to act like a chaste woman for him to see? He always spoke so harshly, even though I tried my best not to listen. I still couldn't help but have the urge to slap him. I have to say, you two were really a perfect match back then. One pretended to be aloof and refused to be with me. But after my brother died, she came running to me like a dog, and she's been with me for 10 years. The other pretended to be aloof and refused to recognize my father, insisting on being a cop, and in the end, he died and didn't even leave a single bone. What if? You think if my brother knew down there that I still got you, what kind of expression would he have? Well, I really couldn't hold it in. When Hu Changyang was about to continue, I slapped him across the face. I was so angry that my whole body was trembling. It didn't matter how Hu Changyang talked about me, but he was the last person in the world who had the right to accuse Hu Jinyang. Hu Changyang grew up being pampered in the huge Hu family consortium, but Hu Jinyang didn't. He and I both grew up in an orphanage. In the first few days at the orphanage, I was too scared to talk to anyone, although there were only children in the orphanage, with limited resources. A law of the jungle system was bound to form. My share of the food would always be snatched away by the taller children. They gave me the dampest and smelliest bedding and made me do all the dirty work that no one else wanted to touch. As time passed, not only did I get rashes all over my body, but I was also the most sallow and emaciated one in the whole orphanage. Whenever people came to adopt a child and saw me, they would pinch their noses and walk away. One by one, the children were adopted, and I was always the one left behind. The dean shook his head when he looked at me and gave me a new name. He said, "Let's call me Wani. What if I could be adopted? What if I could leave someday?" My name was a small, unattainable concept. It was also destined that no matter what I wanted to get in my life, I would always lack a little bit of luck. Until our orphanage merged with another one, more children who were better than me appeared, and the probability of me being abandoned and bullied increased linearly. One night, I decided to run away. I hid in the grass full of flies and insects, lying in wait for a whole day. The scorching sun and my dry lips made me a bit weak. Finally, when they gave up searching and were about to turn off the lights to sleep, my chance came. I used strips torn from the bedsheet to hang on the wall. When I was less than 20 centimeters from the top of the wall, the strips broke. I fell from the wall and broke my leg. I was caught and brought back. The dean severely whipped me with a bamboo stick and then locked me in the confinement room. When the confinement time was up, the one who came to pick me up was a boy a few years older than me. He was calm, not like a child at all. Although his appearance still had a bit of childishness, he was serious when talking about principles. He told me, "If you want to leave here, the first thing is to give up the idea of running away." Later, he taught me how to resist and how to fight for the things that should have belonged to me. I would help him take care of the homeless wild cat in the backyard. He would save up all his labor opportunities throughout the year just to buy me a birthday cake made entirely of plant-based cream. I gradually became curious about him. I asked, "You don't have any defects or diseases, and you're good looking. How could no one want to adopt you?" He told me that he was waiting for his mother to come and pick him up. When someone came to adopt a child, he would pretend to be stupid or sick, trying every means to be left behind. Only in this way could he wait for the day his mother came to get him. I smiled and said, "No one wants to adopt me either, then we can be companions. Let's consider that we adopt each other." Until one day, a group of people who looked wealthy and noble came. He stuffed a bracelet into my hand and pushed me out from behind. I instinctively turned my head to look, only to see him running into the basement without looking back to hide. Those people were overjoyed when they saw the bracelet. They took me away despite my resistance. Later, I found out that these people were from the Hu family. Back then, the old master of the Hu family had a first love girlfriend, and they made a vow of love with a bracelet. Later, for the sake of a family-arranged marriage, the old master of the Hu family abandoned his pregnant girlfriend and married someone else. In his later years, when the old master of the Hu family held great power, he suddenly wanted to find the mother-son pair he had always felt guilty about. After some inquiries, he learned that his girlfriend had passed away a few years after giving birth, and the child had been sent to an orphanage. He didn't even know whether the child was a boy or a girl. The person the old master of the Hu family was looking for was the one who had always been by my side. That day, I learned that his name was Hu Jinyang. He hated the Hu family and didn't want to go with them, But he also knew that with the financial resources of the Hua family and the old master's sense of guilt, the adopted child would surely have a good life. So Hu Jinyang pushed me out, hoping that I could replace his identity and be happy. But Hu Jinyang was just a child at that time and underestimated the old master's cautiousness. On the first day we returned to the Hua family, we had a paternity test. In the end, the story ended with me being sent away again. The old master of the Hua family took back the bracelet and went back to the orphanage to take Hu Jinyang away by force. If it ended here, I might have felt it was a kind of completeness, some warmth, once temporarily possessed. Would save me thousands of times in countless cold and dark nights, but if it were held in the palm all the time, it would burn through the skin and make me feel unbearable pain. My name is Wani, the Wani who always lacks a bit of luck. At the age of 19, in order to save money for tuition and living expenses, I took a break from school and worked at a 24-hour convenience store in Tsim Sha Tsui. It was my turn to work the night shift that day. When handing over the shift, my colleague told me, "It doesn't seem very safe in this area recently. Be careful when you're alone. The alarm is under the table." I said okay verbally, but I didn't really take it to heart. The convenience store was very quiet late at night. Only the ticking of the clock could be heard. The doorbell rang, and I instinctively said, "Welcome." It was only when I smelled the faint smell of blood in the air that I realized something was wrong. The string in my heart immediately tensed up. I stood at the cash register, my hand already on the alarm under it. The man was wearing a dark red spotted shirt that was a common item among the local gangsters, with a loose casual suit on the outside. His forehead was sweating, wetting his hair, and his face was pale. He looked very painful. He staggered to the cash register and slapped down a stack of money. "Listen to me first." He frowned, but his voice was steady. My hand on the alarm didn't move as I continued to listen to what the man had to say. He raised his eyes and stared at me. After seeing my face clearly, he was slightly stunned. I'm very sensitive to other people's gazes and immediately realized that he was looking at the scar on my forehead that was left when I tried to escape from the orphanage and fell off the wall. I usually covered it with broken hair, and few people could notice it. The man stopped talking, after a moment of silence. He tentatively said, "Wani, what if we could meet again? When fate happens, none of us know whether it is a gift or a punishment. It is just destined to happen." Hu Jinyang and I didn't have time to catch up. A group of people chasing after him were almost approaching. The storage room was in a hidden location, so I hid him there. The alarm under the cash register was a great help. When they grabbed my neck and asked about Hu Jinyang's whereabouts, I desperately pressed the alarm. The leader cursed at the subordinate who wanted to shoot me to silence me. "Are you crazy?" After the police lights flashed, they panicked and fled the convenience store. I ran to the storage room and turned on the light. Hu Jinyang's wound on his lower abdomen was bleeding all over the floor, and he had already passed out from the pain. I lifted his clothes, trying to make a simple bandage for him with the things in the convenience store before the ambulance arrived. Hu Jinyang's body was burning hot. Besides this wound, there were many old scars criss-crossing densely on his slender waist. He mumbled and told me that no matter what, I couldn't send him to the hospital. In the end, I took him back to my home and used a number he gave me to call someone for help. The person who came with a medical kit to help was Ben. He was said to be Hu Jinyang's brother in arms through thick and thin. He skillfully treated Hu Jinyang's wound, told me some precautions, and then left in a hurry. So Hu Jinyang stayed at my home for almost half a month. We talked a lot about the pasts we had missed in each other's lives, and the futures that we knew were unlikely but still hoped for. Some people may not be able to fully commit themselves even if they see each other every day, but for some people, even if years have passed and their appearances are no longer the same as in memory, they can still instantly fill in all the blanks of the past, as if we had never been apart. Hu Jinyang told me that after the Hua family lifted his house arrest, he went back to the orphanage to look for me, but by that time, I had already managed to escape secretly. He didn't like that family. He would rather be a free beggar than become a showpiece of the Hua family. He came here, initially just wanting to be as far away from the Hua family as possible. Later, he really found a career here that he was willing to fight for all his life, so he simply stayed. I asked him what exactly he was doing. Hu Jinyang said, "As you can see, a thug collecting protection money." What on earth is there to fight for a lifetime in collecting protection money? And why was he so reluctant to go to the hospital with so many injuries? Hu Jinyang said nonchalantly, I don't have medical insurance. I can't afford it. He was willing to answer all my questions, but he just wouldn't answer these too seriously. I'm not stupid. Even if he didn't tell the truth, I could vaguely guess something. We had a tacit understanding and never mentioned it again. He came here to escape the Hu family and pursue his own ideals. And I came here because the hourly wage for working here was the highest. I actually met such a 1 in 10,000 probability event. For the first time, I kind of liked my name. Hu Jinyang was probably as glad as I was about this turn of fate. He often came to the store with Ben to buy all kinds of things. It would take them an hour to carefully select a pack of cigarettes. The store manager even privately asked me if I had arranged for 2 thugs to be my bodyguards on my own initiative. At first, they would show up at mealtimes, using the excuse to ask me to have a meal. Later, they simply waited at the street corner in front of the store half an hour before my shift ended and would appear at the convenience store entrance right on time when my shift was over. On Christmas Eve, Hu Jinyang was sitting in a sports car wearing exaggerated and flashy red sunglasses. The moment I walked out of the convenience store, he honked the horn, he pushed up his sunglasses, and his affectionate eyes looked at me with a big smile. Beauty, would you do me the honor of going for a ride? Silly, who rents a convertible in the middle of winter? The cold wind slapping his face taught Hu Jinyang a lesson. He put up the roof in less than 2 minutes. A Christmas tree as tall as a small villa was erected by the West Kowloon waterfront. The bright LED lights lit up at night, and from a distance, it looked like broken diamonds scattered on the tree. Before coming, my colleague curled my hair into big waves with a curling iron. She said that once I curled my hair, I would become a trendy Hong Kong girl and fascinate my boyfriend. Boyfriend. This word lingered in my mind over and over again. Each time, it made my heart pound like a drum. I don't know if Hu Jinyang was fascinated, but he rubbed his chin on the top of my head all night. I heard him mumbling, "It's like a teddy bear, such a stupid straight guy." When the bell rang at 12 o'clock, Hu Jinyang took out a box from behind and handed it to me. "Merry Christmas." I carefully opened the box. The first Christmas gift I received in my life was a bracelet from Hu Jinyang. This bracelet was one of the few relics left by his mother. I felt that the gift in my hand weighed 1,000 pounds, and I didn't even dare to move. Such a heavy gift, I couldn't bear it. Hu Jinyang seemed to see all my inferiority and embarrassment. He simply stood in front of me. On the night when the cold wind was rising, Hu Jinyang's ears were red from the cold, but his eyes were still deep and bright. Leaving an indelible mark on my heart, he said, "One doesn't have to be just a probability. It can also mean 1 in 10,000, something precious. It can also mean that all my joy comes the moment I see you. I've been saying that I hope I'll be happy next year, year after year. Finally, it came true this year. Winter came again. Hu Jinyang, let's spend it together." After Christmas, Hu Jinyang didn't show up for a long time. I couldn't get through to his phone. Only Ben occasionally came to the store to tell me he was safe. I asked him when Hu Jinyang would come back. Ben scratched his head. Apparently, Hu Jinyang didn't give him a definite answer to this question. Days passed quietly in the uneventful years. The store had new co-branded products on the shelves. I was busy putting several large boxes of things on the shelves. After squatting for too long, when I stood up, I felt dizzy, and my body instinctively fell backward. A big, warm hand immediately caught me. Hu Jinyang suddenly appeared behind me. It seemed that he had been here for a long time, but I was too slow to notice him until now. Hu Jinyang just looked at me quietly. The tenderness in his eyes easily erased all the distance during this period. I happily threw myself into his arms, and the scent of cedar immediately enveloped me. "Why are you here? Don't you remember I'm a thug now? I'm here to collect some protection money from you." After saying that, Hu Jinyang wrapped me in his thick coat and gently kissed my forehead. From that day on, every day, whenever I stood in front of that storage cabinet to organize the goods, I would expect Hu Jinyang to suddenly appear behind me. After Hu Jinyang died, this feeling became even stronger. Even when I stood in front of a similar counter in another supermarket, I would have the same expectation, expecting a warm embrace, expecting the familiar scent of cedar. My 10,000 turns still couldn't bring me one wish come true. It seems that fate has never been kind to me. Every gift that makes me let down my guard will eventually be taken back in a more tragic way. After making a ruckus with Hua Changyang, I called the housekeeper of the Hua family mansion to take Hua Changyang back. He was acting crazy, drunk. He was scolding me one moment, then scolding Hua Jinyang, and after a while, he started scolding the old master of the Hua family for being flirtatious and giving him an older brother. The old master of the Hua family cared about his reputation. Hua Changyang going home in this state would surely make him suffer. When I got home, I took a half-hour bath to completely wash away the smell of alcohol on Hua Changyang. I sprayed the blanket with cedar-scented perfume. This bottle was the one I picked that was closest to the smell on Hua Jinyang. I wrapped myself up completely in the blanket. People walking alone in the winter night always have to find some way to save themselves. This smell made me feel very at ease. I slept soundly that night, which was rare. I even dreamt of Hua Jinyang from many years ago. It was my birthday. Hua Jinyang accompanied me to take a sightseeing bus. Before, I always said that I had seen the street scenes of Victoria Harbour thousands of times. Why spend money on a more expensive sightseeing bus to see them again? But on my birthday, I allowed myself to be a little extravagant. He appeared less and less frequently. Sometimes it was once a week, sometimes only once a month. Even when we came out to take the sightseeing bus together today, we couldn't sit side by side. Hua Jinyang sat in the seat in front of me. The single-sided Bluetooth earphones in our ears were playing the same song. The sightseeing bus passed by those gorgeous and dense neon lights. The prosperity of Victoria Harbour had never had anything to do with me. A song came on randomly in the earphones. Two heartless people, like lonely chicks, getting through hardships for now. In the bitter sea, not alone. At least we've relied on each other. Hua Jinyang's appearance once made me feel that I had some kind of connection with this world. Neither deep nor shallow, but now that he was sitting right in front of me, I felt that the distance between us was even farther than the dozen-year separation before. My sixth sense has always been very accurate. Only later did I understand that this distance was death, separation in the first half of life, and death in the second half. If there really is a time when bitterness gives way to sweetness, I really don't know what kind of sweetness could be worthy of this bumpy journey. When I woke up early the next morning, I booked a flight ticket. I wanted to go to Victoria Harbour, to Kowloon, and to that convenience store in Tsim Sha Tsui. The closer it got to the day Hua Jinyang was supposed to come back, the more flustered I became. As soon as the plane landed, dozens of messages from Hua Changyang popped up on my phone instantly. Hua Changyang thought that as his girlfriend, I should be on standby all day and reply to his messages instantly no matter when. I scrolled down. There was no message saying we were breaking up, then there was no need to reply. When I got on the double-decker sightseeing bus, Hua Changyang called, like a persistent ghost. I don't know what Hua Changyang was thinking, calling a mute. Did you break your hand or get into a car accident and fall into a coma in the hospital? You didn't dare to reply to a single text. Have I been spoiling you too much recently? Wani, I suddenly felt that Hua Jinyang owed me a lot, for his sake. I endured his foul-mouthed and crazy younger brother for 10 years. Hua Changyang was talking to himself on the other end. Seeing that I didn't respond, he suddenly burst out, "Are you dumb? Say something." After the outburst, there was a deathly silence. Hua Changyang's short-circuited brain finally came back to normal at this moment. He coughed twice. "Remember to reply to me. Send me your current location. I'll come find you." Even if I don't take the initiative to send Hua Changyang my location information, he will come to me on his own before long. Just like 10 years ago. Actually, our first meeting wasn't in the mainland. Hua Changyang's back looked a lot like Hua Jinyang's. I even mistook him for Hua Jinyang when I first saw him. At that time, he was standing in front of the retail candy shelf. My colleague quietly motioned me to look over there. "Your little boyfriend is here again." I felt happy and walked over to pat him on the shoulder. "Aren't you going to collect protection money today?" When the man turned around, his completely different face from Hua Jinyang's left me stunned. His eyes were very different from Hua Jinyang's. When Hua Changyang looked at someone, he didn't hide his purpose and ambition at all. I felt a bit uncomfortable being stared at by him. I said sorry and turned to leave. Hua Changyang suddenly grabbed me and looked me up and down with interest. "Mistook me for someone else?" "Yes, I'm very sorry, sir. Judging by your accent, you're from the north, right?" I nodded, eager to get away as soon as possible. "I'm from the north too." and so is my older brother. He came here alone. Maybe you mistook me for him." Just when I thought there couldn't be such a coincidence in the world, Hu Jinyang showed up. He rushed up and separated me from Hu Changyang, guarding me behind him as if facing a formidable enemy. "What are you doing here?" I had never heard Hu Jinyang speak in such a serious tone. The two of them were at loggerheads, and the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Hu Changyang leaned lazily on the shelf and smiled at us. "Just came to see what kind of good life my illegitimate brother is living here." He turned to look at me behind Hu Jinyang and pressed his business card under a chocolate on the shelf behind him. "Little girl, people should aim high. Why don't you come with me? Remember to call me." Hu Changyang was naturally my nemesis. Ever since he showed up here, everything had quietly changed. Hu Jinyang's injuries started to become more and more numerous, and he went out more and more frequently. I knew that his missions had become more dangerous. The most serious time, Ben called me and asked me to go to a private hospital. Ben stood outside the ward and told me to be prepared, even though I nodded in agreement, when I entered the door and saw the person lying quietly on the bed. The defenses I had built up so high collapsed instantly. Hu Jinyang's face was pale without a trace of blood, looking like he was asleep or perhaps dead. I was at a loss, panicking and not knowing which way to turn. I broke down and cried bitterly on the white bedspread. Finally, Ben just couldn't bear to watch any longer. He knocked on the door and said to Hu Jinyang with a speechless look on his face, "Are you done acting crazy?" I looked up blankly and met Hu Jinyang's triumphant eyes. I was really angry with him. It was too much to take a joke to this extent. Even if it was Hu Jinyang who was joking, it wasn't allowed. But that time, Hu Jinyang really almost died. He was seriously injured and sent to the hospital. He was lucky to be snatched back from the brink of death. Seeing that I was really planning to ignore him, Hu Jinyang got a little anxious. Every movement tugged at his wound, making him grimace in pain. I gave in and sighed. "Before you go to do something very dangerous in the future, you have to tell me, and don't pretend to be dead to deceive me again." Actually, I already had an idea of what he was doing, but I couldn't tell him not to go anymore. Hu Jinyang wasn't just mine. He was a hero who had to protect many people. Hu Jinyang nodded seriously. Then, "Do you have time on New Year's Eve?" "Yes, let's meet at Victoria Harbour. I have something very important to give you." "Okay, see you then." On the way back from the hospital, a black car blocked my way. Hu Changyang rolled down the car window and looked at me, propping his head up. "You've been refusing to call me, so I had to come find you." Ever since the first meeting, Hu Jinyang had told me to be careful of his younger brother. Hu Changyang was scheming. Whatever his brother liked, he wanted to snatch it away. His morbid desire to win had long blinded his eyes. I didn't bother to pay attention to the olive branch Hu Changyang extended to me again because of his ridiculous desire to win. He stared at me with a smile as I left and shouted after me, "Let's make a bet. You'll regret it soon." Hu Changyang was really right. A month later, I went to him. I pestered him and stayed by his side, because Hu Jinyang had died. That day, Ben gave me Hu Jinyang's will. They would write a will for their families before each mission. Hu Jinyang's will was always written to me because he had no other family. The will was a thick stack. Each one was written in the moments when he was risking his life. At many moments in the past that I didn't know about, I had almost lost him, and this last time, Hu Jinyang was a bit unlucky and couldn't come back to me. Ben said that the last mission was urgent, and the will was in the form of a recording. The background sound on the other end was a bit noisy. It took Hu Jinyang a long time to speak. "Wani, I'm sorry I broke my promise again. I feel guilty for making you worried these days, but I thought that when I came back this time, I could seriously tell you what I've been doing. If I can't come back, I'll tell you here. I'm a police officer. 2 years ago, we found out that there was a collusion among black market merchants, drug dealers in this area. To completely eliminate them, the team asked me to go undercover as a thug. We've already raided 4 of their hideouts. There's only 1 left. After this mission is over, I'll report to the team and take a good vacation. Let's go back to our hometown together. I'll pay for your tuition. I also bought a house in our hometown, which was meant for you." I took out the property ownership certificate that was at the bottom of the stack of wills. Hu Jinyang suddenly chuckled. "After all, your household registration is there. It's not easy to move it here." I couldn't help but laugh through my tears. At that time, "We'll decorate it together. buy our favorite furniture together, and live together. Hu Jinyang took a deep breath, a little nervously. Wani, I like you. The recording ended. I stood in a crowded place, listening to the last sentence over and over again. It never snows in Victoria Harbour. But I suddenly thought that at this moment, there should be a heavy snowfall, to accuse the unfair world on my behalf, for taking the life of a good person too soon. But it doesn't matter. I will go against the will of heaven and bring Hu Jinyang back. On the last day of the mission, I waited by the clock for the bell to ring at 12, the pendulum swung, and 12 o'clock passed. I immediately sent Hu Changyang a breakup message and blocked him. When the sky was getting slightly bright, I asked Ben out. It was time for the truth that had been a secret for 10 years to be revealed. I handed him a USB drive. It was full of evidence of Hu Changyang colluding with gangsters and drug dealers and revealing the police's operation information 10 years ago. That fool Hu Changyang, he really thought that I was just a mute punching bag by his side for these 10 years. I felt something was wrong when the incident happened. Hu Changyang's appearance and his words were all too coincidental. I endured for 10 years and investigated for 10 years. The Hu family had long been rotten to the core. Since the old master of the Hu family became a bit muddled and the whole family was in the hands of Hu Changyang, the Hu family had been beautiful on the outside but rotten on the inside. I not only found evidence of him being a double agent but also a lot of evidence of the Hu family's bribery. Whether in a criminal court or a military court, Hu Changyang would be in big trouble. Ben held the USB drive against his heart. The nearly 2-meter tall man silently cried in front of me. Thank you, heaven's justice is manifest. There's no reason for good people to die in vain. That crazy Hu Changyang, after I blocked all his contact information, he flew over and found me directly. He used the same old trick and blocked me with his car on the street. I turned to leave, but he opened the car door, got out, and quickly walked a few steps to tightly wrap his arms around my waist. Why are you breaking up? How could you be willing to break up with me? Hu Changyang's breath landed on my ear, making me feel a chill. I struggled hard to break free from his embrace and turned around to slap him hard. Hu Changyang wasn't on guard, and this slap made him stagger and almost lose his balance. He covered half of his face and stared at me in disbelief. Wani, why? I took a deep breath and said, save your questions for the lawyer. I think you'll be very busy soon. Hu Changyang grasped the wrong point. He almost didn't listen to what I said but was very pleasantly surprised and rushed up to grab my shoulders. Wani, you can talk now. When the system found me for the mission, it asked me to choose a side effect. I chose not to speak. For some people, even one more word is too much. But for some people, thousands of words are not enough. Hu Changyang was the former. I had nothing to say to him, so I simply chose to be a mute. I slowly held Hu Changyang's fingers, word by word. Not only can I talk now, but I will do my best to testify in court. Double agent, you can just wait to rot in jail. Hu Changyang frowned, looking like I had hurt him deeply. Wani, I don't understand. We were fine just a few days ago. If you're mad at me for giving away your bracelet, I apologize. I just wanted to get a little more of your attention. Wani, let's not do this anymore. Okay, come back with me. Let's live a good life. The person who made a mistake has no right to say live a good life. If someone like Hu Changyang could live a good life, that would be the greatest injustice. I hated Hu Changyang, hated him with gritted teeth. He hadn't felt my hatred before, and now he just thought I was throwing a tantrum. But every quiet night, I was suppressing the overwhelming hatred in my heart. Suppressing myself from killing the person lying next to me with a knife, because it wasn't worth it. This hatred had brewed for 10 years and had long become an indelible habit of mine. Hu Changyang, it's impossible for a person to fall in love with a beast. What's more, you're even worse than a beast. The public security here is much better than it was 10 years ago. Hu Changyang's pulling and tugging behavior quickly attracted the police. I managed to break free from him, because today, I have something even more important to do. The system said that on the day it snows in Victoria Harbour, Hu Jinyang will come back, so I'll wait at Victoria Harbour. The prosperity here is the same as before. I know this peaceful and prosperous age was brought about by the lives of countless people like Hu Jinyang. So, 10 years of Wani's life in exchange for Hu Jinyang's life. It's worth it, but it never snows in Victoria Harbour. I stood there from afternoon until night. The distant bell rang. The first day after the mission ended had passed, Hu Jinyang still didn't show up, my voice had returned, and the money in the card was there, only Hu Jinyang hadn't come back. My hands and feet were stiff with cold. The patrol team reminded me not to stand there for too long. I replied with a smile, "I'll leave as soon as I pick up my husband." "Hu Jinyang, you said that, after the mission was over, you would take a long leave and go back with me. You also said that we would decorate the house together. Now I've finished decorating the house. I guess you'll like the color of the wall paint. If you prefer it here and don't want to go back to the north, that's okay too. I'm very rich now. I have 100 million yuan. With so much money, it would be nice to buy another small flat here. What do you think, Hu Jinyang? I miss you. I settled down here temporarily. I go to Victoria Harbour for a walk every day, hoping that every person passing by will be him. The weather is gradually getting warmer. Not only does it not snow, but it also rains very rarely. But life still has to go on. I don't want to be a sickly and listless Wani when Hu Jinyang comes back." I walked with my head down on the street full of people. When I looked up, it was a cloudless, beautiful day. It doesn't matter, I'm good at waiting. Whether it's 10 years or several decades, it doesn't matter. So during this period, I've been cleaning up my things and preparing to take them away. The store Jishua is beautifully decorated in a Danish style. There is a small snow-making machine at the entrance of the store. Fine and light snowflakes fell into my palm. If only you were real. I blew away the snowflakes in my palm and continued walking forward. The phone in my coat pocket rang. I took it out and saw that it was a strange number from another place. "Hello, who's this?" There was no answer on the other side. It was extremely quiet. "Hello," just as I was about to hang up. A familiar voice came through the receiver. "Beauty, would you do me the honor of going for a ride? There is no snow in Victoria Harbour, but this snow has been falling in my heart for 10 years. At this moment, it finally stopped. The snow has cleared, and the sky is clear. Every day after this will be a fine day."